Welcome to the Empowered Catholic Podcast with Karen and Curtis Herbert, where we combine the best of theology, science, and coaching to inspire your empowerment. It's our mission to help you release the inner obstacles that are holding you back from embracing true Christian freedom, so the power of the Holy Spirit can manifest in you. So if you believe that God has more for you, if you want to believe that God has more for you, listen on, my friend.
Hello and welcome to the Empowered Catholic Podcast with Curtis. That's me and Karen.
Hi, everybody. It's great to, I was going to say see you this morning, but actually we were not seeing you. However, thanks for being here and listening to us. I have a comment this morning that I was thinking about. In our last podcast, we talked about a conflict model.
Right.
That's really helpful when you're navigating conflict and your own response to it. And I realized we used kind of a common conflict example, the kitchen remodel. It's a great standard example for conflict. But a couple days later, I realized, oh, you know what? I have several friends right now who are remodeling their kitchens. And I started to worry that somebody would listen to our podcast and think, oh my gosh, they're talking about me. They're sharing about my experience on the podcast. So I just want to say to everyone, that's actually a classic conflict example that's oft used, the house remodel, the kitchen remodel, what have you. So nobody's talking about you, just in case you were worried. And if we ever wanted to, you would hear from us before we talked about you on the podcast.
Well, that's right. And you were making me nervous for a moment, Karen, because I thought you were going to dig up another conflict example from our marriage.
Oh, do you want me to?
No, I do not want you to. That's why I was nervous.
Oh, maybe we'll have a conflict season and we can dig up all our conflict.
Exposure.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'll see you that and I'll raise you this. That would be healthy and productive, right?
That would be fun. How about that?
It would not be fun.
So what's our model for today that we would love to share with people, Kurt?
Well, we really like Patrick Lencioni. He does a lot of things.
Yes, he's amazing.
And one of the models he's come up with is the working genius model. So he has noticed that people in the context really of work, how they go about doing a thing, have there's about six areas that you need to get something done.
Right.
Starting from, oh, well, what's the problem here? All the way to, no, we're going to get this done. We're going to finish it. We're going to put the last details on. We're going to push it through.
Finished. Yes.
Finished.
And this is any type of work. So we think of work as, the work that we do, that we earn money, yet we have work all over our lives. Being a part of a family involves work. Planning a family vacation is work. There's lots of work in marriage, like getting the bills paid and getting dinner on the table and taking your kids to where they need to be. There's work in church communities. There's pretty much work all over your life.
Sure. The physics definition of work is force through distance.
Okay.
So imagine you have to find whatever it is you're trying to do and apply some kind of force, some kind of energy. You have to push it a certain distance. So
right,
to
get
work.
Things done. So Patrick Lencioni and his group at The Table Group, which is the name of his company, realized, wow, from start to finish, there's 6 geniuses or elements of work. And different people will be better or not as good at some of the types of work involved. And mostly, he noticed, there's certain types of work that you will really enjoy, that you will love, that you will get life and energy from. And there's other kinds that even if you do them well, they're just going to sap your energy and make you tired.
That's right. And once you hear about these different categories that involve taking something from the start to the finish, you'll start to appreciate perhaps that some of them you're really good at and others not so much. And then it gets really interesting when you think about, well, how do I interact with the people around me in the context of marriage or family life or professional work or volunteering?
Okay. So let's just run down, Curtis, with the 6 stages or geniuses of work. Do you want to start us off or you want me to?
Well, the first genius, and this starts up at the beginning of the project, is simply asking a question, asking a good question. We call it wonder, and it's identifying the need for improvement or change.
Yeah. So these are the people who are always saying, well, what if this happened? Or why is it this way? And how can we potentially make it better? Where's the opportunity and potential here in the situation? So a lot of times they are just wondering and asking the questions.
And that might be in contrast with a person that their disposition is more to get it done. Well, that's great, but whatever, let's get it done. Let's not create a bunch of questions here. We've got all this stuff to do.
Yeah.
That's a different perspective. But wonder starts to identify the need for change.
And it's an important genius, because if you lack wonder in some setting, then you could fail to notice some serious problems or some major opportunities. You might not take that time to collectively think about what's going on here and how can we improve.
That's right. What are the opportunities that we're oblivious to? Mm-hmm. Well, wonder kind of looks around and asks the question. Now, you can have lots of questions, like Karen and me. This is something we have lots of questions.
Have wonder.
We have lots of questions, yet invention is needed as really a next step. It's knowing, okay, that's an important need. That's a need we need. And here's an idea. Here's a potential solution. Here's an approach. It's inventing a way to do the thing.
To solve the problem, to answer the question. So if you have the genius of invention, you're probably really good at coming up with lots of potential ideas that could solve the problem or answer the question or make improvements and make things better. What if we did it this particular other way? And so you really need a person with invention when you're doing work, or else you'll get stuck in the questions and you may find that you have the same problems over and over and you're just not making a lot of progress in them.
And as the workflow, let's call it, continues, as you move from the question, from wonder to suggestions, the invention, it's important to discern, hey, well, here's a good idea. Wait a minute. Is this a good idea?
Maybe it's not a good idea.
Got any other ideas over here? How about those?
It's true. I think it could definitely happen that you can get stuck with all these ideas and think, well, which one is really the way to go here? What's the best idea? And when a person has the genius of discernment, they just have this capacity, even if they don't know a whole lot about the underlying issues, they have this intuitive way of being able to see, oh, here's the idea that's really going to be effective.
And it's so wonderful to try something out and then to see it start to bear some fruit.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, hey, there's some real promise here with this approach. That means your discernment is probably working for you.
Sure. It's really easy to try lots of ideas and none of them really turn out to be very effective. So what if you had the person with the genius who could step in at the right moment and tell you exactly where to go? The next thing in workflow that you need, so somebody's asked the question, someone has thrown out lots of ideas, somebody has discerned the correct way to go, and then, you just need that energetic, joyful person who's going to go around and get everybody excited about the path forward.
The idea needs a champion.
It does.
Somebody who's going to nurture it and boost it along and find the people and the resources to support it, help it spread its wings a little bit and get some traction with the group or in the environment.
Yeah. And I think oftentimes we associate this genius of galvanizing with leadership, right? It's the person who's going to rally the troops, inspire you, get everybody organized, and send them forth into action.
And that's a particular kind of leadership. And I think that's right. I think that's often what an organization needs, is somebody to really decide, okay, what's the best path here? And let's do it. Let's make the decision to go forward and create some excitement.
Yes.
Some buy-in, some vision.
So, a short story here about galvanizing. A number of years ago, I made my whole family take this 6 working genius assessment. And lo and behold, not one person in the family had the genius of galvanizing. And most of us had it in what's called our working frustration, right? It's the 2 geniuses that really drive us crazy and frustrate us when we're trying to do them. And it explained so much about our family and how difficult it was to get the troops rallied for anything.
Trying to get them on the same page.
Oh my gosh. We're going to have a family activity. How about that?
Yeah.
Nobody's ever excited. You can't get them excited. So a lot of clarity it brought to me.
And as you galvanize and you get the buy-in, then enablement is another working genius. And this is the people that want to support and assist in implementing this idea. You know, sometimes people resist ideas that aren't their own. Or there's the not invented here syndrome.
Right.
Well, that's the way they do it, but that's not how we do it here. Yet with enablement, there's an embracing of the idea and saying, I think this is good. Let's start rallying behind this.
What do you need? Tell me what you need, and I would love to go start making things happen.
How can I help?
How can I help?
And even at the early stages, sometimes that champion needs some enablement, some resources and energy from one or more people that are going to use a little bit of their precious bandwidth to push the idea along, to find out what's needed next.
Yeah, it really is a genius. And the final and 6th working genius is the genius of tenacity. And that's just this natural gift of pushing things to completion, getting to the finish line, just powering through all the hard stuff to actually say, we have completed and finished this project. And that is a real genius. I mean, if you don't have that, then you're going to find like, well, at a certain point, people are going to lose steam for the project. And you're just going to look around and say, how come we just can't quite finish all
Do you have
these
any
things?
uncompleted projects around the house?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, so tenacity is the genius that likes to finish those things and move them off the to-do list.
Right. And again, you might be good at a lot of this, but when it's your genius, you really get the joy, the life, the energy from working in that particular way. So you could see how, like, if you had a job and most of the actual work of the job was in the things that frustrated you and not the things that bring you life, that could be a really difficult job to power through. And I would think some burnout would come really quickly.
Yeah, that's right. This is one of the more important points about the working genius model. And one of the reasons we like it is that Lencioni's observed that most of us, we're going to have 2 of these working genius that we like. This is what we like to do. And odds are we're good at it, because if we like it, that tends to be what we're good at. And there's probably 2 of these that we don't like. It just is annoying to have to use those working geniuses in your endeavor.
Sure. Or you have to get yourself keyed up and ready to do those things. You may definitely have to do them, yet it takes extra effort and energy to make that happen.
That's right. And it's simply helpful to become aware of both of these areas, because if you realize I really like exercising wonder, then you can be drawn to projects where you can use that. And if galvanizing isn't what you do well, then you're going to realize, well, this project, it's not going to go where I want if I don't push along this piece of it, if I don't do some galvanizing, or, and this is always preferable, get a galvanizer involved.
Yeah, exactly. Find one, because they're going to love to step in and do that work.
And Lencioni loves to give the assessments to a team and find out where they have strengths and where they lack some of the working genius and who's doing what.
Right. And how can you make a complete team with everything represented that you need to move through?
That's right. And he has no end of stories about giving this assessment. One of his projects is the Amazing Parish.
Right. Yes.
This is an entire arm of his business. I think this is really for charity type approach, because he makes the big bucks consulting for business. Yet he has the Amazing Parish program for parishes. And so he'll give the Working Genius assessment to teams. And when they look at the results, often there's a lot of nodding of heads as they realized maybe they're like us. Oh, we don't have galvanizers.
Right.
We've got lots of people on our parish team that have great ideas and solutions, yet somehow nobody wants to really rally to do the work or to get the workers or to free up the resources to make it happen.
Right. And you can see how this could be very helpful. Let's say you hire people for certain jobs. Now, anybody with any of these geniuses could likely do the same jobs, but you could ask yourself, well, let's say your church is hiring a youth leader. Well, what kind of youth leader do you need right now? Do you need the person to come in and have the new ideas and shake things up and start new programs? Do you need someone to come in and look at all this stuff you're doing and say, okay, these things are ineffective. We're cutting these out. We're focusing on these other things because these are really the great ideas? Or do you need someone to come in and just get the work done and keep your programs going and organize how it's already being done? And you may need one of those kinds of leaders.
That's a little different approach than hiring the guy with the best hair and the most enthusiasm.
Well, that's actually a good point, honey, because, you're thinking a little more intentionally about, okay, what direction do we really want to go here?
And as you are probably realizing, this is a very helpful outlook when it comes to marriage, when it comes to your family life, to realize that people do things in different ways and they have different strengths. And I'm reminded, Karen, of the Lencioni story about the pastor and his associate, where the pastor is really frustrated with his associate. And eventually he realized that they were opposite in terms of what they did well and what they didn't do well. And they had different approaches to their work. And in families, we're the same way. We have different approaches and we have things that we do and don't do well.
It's so true. And just recognizing, well, to be happy, healthy, joyful, I want to put the bulk of my energy in the things that bring me life. And yes, I'm going to do these other things, yet if they're taking over my way of working in whatever situation, that's going to really pull me down and burn me out. And, sometimes in a family, like you'll have things that nobody's really excelling or getting joy from. And maybe those are the things that you hire out. Maybe those are the things you find workarounds so that nobody's holding the bag with all of that.
With this model, then, in marriage, you can start to learn where your spouse likes to work and the areas of their frustration. And really, a classic is one that Lencioni shared about his marriage, is that both of them had tenacity in their zone of frustration. And what that means is they weren't really detail people when it came to finishing off projects or managing all the little details of something. They were not very interested. Now, Patrick's wife was the one that ended up managing all the details for the family, and that's pretty typical in managing all the meals and the groceries and the kids' schedules and signing up for school and activities and getting all the little details, planning a lot of the trips, perhaps the logistics of the trips that the family takes. These were falling on the wife, and she did not like it. And in fact, it was not really done in a way that Patrick approved of. As a business guy, he expected certain things to be done and to happen, and just don't ask me a lot of questions. You can go do this. And so it was a flashpoint for them in their marriage. Finally, his wife started to, he didn't say but somehow she started to reach out for a little more help. And she said that she kind of felt guilty before because she wasn't performing up to some level of competency that she and Patrick expected of her. Yet, as she realized, oh, this is just something that doesn't come naturally to me. It's not about my effort or sincerity or something like that. It's simply that it's my zone of not genius.
Right. And there's a lot of freedom in saying, okay, this zone is a zone I'm going to need help in. This is a genius I don't really have. So when I need it, I probably need to get some support and help. And other people are going to need the things that I have. So there's a lot of teamwork in this model. Just the recognition that, oh yeah, we need all of these things and we need them together, not at the same time usually, but we need all of them. And I can acknowledge, hey, this isn't my zone. This is what I'm going to get help in.
So in our marriage, Karen and I are both excelling in the wonder area. So we have lots of questions.
We have kind of fun conversations.
We have,
asking all the questions.
We do. And this feeds our love of theology and scripture. We're very curious people. And satisfying that curiosity is a very rewarding part of what we do for us, because guess what? It's our genius zone. And when it comes to discernment, Karen, that's one of her zones. She is very practical. She likes being practical, and that really works for her. I do like enablement. I'm kind of somebody that likes to support initiatives, support people's projects. I would always support kids in their hobbies and find ways to try to move them forward in whatever initiatives they were taking. Yet, as we've alluded, galvanizing, rallying the troops, getting them fired up, that was not a skill that either Karen or I did so well with. For instance, we would go on vacations and then Karen and I are trying to find things for the kids to do at a certain age, trying to get them out of the condo or whatever. And it was somehow never landing so well.
Oh, it was so brutal. Now, obviously they have their own personalities, but just getting everybody to go out and do something, even something fun, felt like kind of a chore to us. And it's very interesting to notice that.
It's a curious thing, and it doesn't feel that way with some other families.
Right. Exactly.
And as you listen to all this about these different working genius zones, think about where you might excel and where people in your family might excel and the areas that really frustrate them. And see if that brings some insight. If you're going to start nodding your head, oh, that really explains a lot about our peculiar little family dynamic. And the areas are wonder, that's asking the questions, invention, discernment, galvanizing, enablement, and tenacity.
All right. If you want to take the assessment yourself, I think it's just maybe $25, something like that.
Yep.
For an assessment, you can head to the table group or you can Google the 6 Working Geniuses. There's a book about it, and there is also a podcast. So if you are a podcast liker and listener to multiple podcasts, you can check out the 6 Working Genius podcast as well. We like this model, we use it, and we recommend it.
That's fantastic, Karen. Thanks for being with us, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for being here with us this week. Visit our website at empoweredcatholics.com to learn more about us. And remember, as Pope Francis says, God comes to break open everything that keeps you closed in.